And what is up, guys? Technicals Tinkers here, checking in back on the 3D print operation for today. It is October 15th, a Tuesday. I'm trying to get my exposition down as low as I possibly can. I'm a small business owner, have a business nothing to do with 3D printing, but I'm seeing if this is going to work, and then I'll incorporate it in my real business. So what am I working on today? Always prototyping different things, checking new areas, because again, I'm not exactly sure what my niche is. I favor functional prints over art prints, but I see the potential in both, and that's kind of why I have machines that are capable of doing both. Big machines, Cobra 2 Maxes, because the large build plate allows me to print big volume art prints. So if you've been following my D20 saga, D20 cube, big dice, I had a lot of issues printing one, but this one I'm printing in one big go, really slow, really precise settings. Unfortunately, the one setting that I was most interested in using was not doing either grid or triangle infill, doing something like adaptive cubic or gyroid or something like that, or even lightning. And it's the one setting I forgot to change before I started this print. And now I'm like a day in, and I'm certainly not going to restart it. So wishing and praying. Super slow though. Over here, I've got it on triangle infill at 0.5%, and that's enough to give it one star pattern through the middle. But it's going super slow. It failed previously before it got to this point, but I tightened while getting retighten all the belts. But I checked all the belts, greased everything, just kind of did a general sort of mid-maintenance on it because this is like a 3-day print, and I don't want it to screw up. So I'm leaving it alone. Just send positive vibes. Next up, we got our bamboo spools. Not easy doing this one-handed. So yesterday I had some layer adhesion issues on these attempts. I just downloaded a new model. I wasn't exactly sure why it did that, why it wouldn't adhere. Someone mentioned maybe the temperature settings is why it was kind of... I've never had that happen before, because this is the Elegoo Rapid PLA Plus, but this new model's at 100%, and this one seems, yeah, much more solid. So that'd be good. I need some more bamboo spools. And a new thing that I was kind of like, because the business I run outside of this 3D printing sort of thing, it has to do with, I want to say my generation, we call them head shops. People call them smoke shops or whatever. But this is just a model I dropped and destroyed. This is a model I just downloaded off of Cult because I am not going to sell this online, something like this. But in my retail stores, my in real life brick and mortar retail stores, I could just sell this kind of thing. I don't think that's too big of an issue. It's just a very simple little tray for people to put their herb or hemp or whatever it is in it to keep things kind of organized. And I can scale it up or down. So it's just doing kind of a test print on this and see if it has viability. And if it does, maybe look into some more exotic materials for it. But overall, print came out pretty good. It's kind of a quick and dirty sort of thing. I did adjust the layer height down to kind of get sort of a cleaner sort of print. I forgot to take the brim off. I really didn't need brim on this. But it's got like a little compartment for your herb and other, I don't know. I don't do this kind of thing. So I'm not sure what all these little compartments are for, but we're going to see how that works out. All right, what's going on with the P1P? All the printers are quiet. Usually I like to keep these things running because the prints take so darn long. But we did a couple angel heads here. Let's see. Be sure to take these little bits off because I forget and I'll start a print and it's not a good situation when that happens. Here on the A1, these are some bips and bobs for that rolling tray thing that I was just showing you that came over on the Cobra. It kind of like this is a herb grinder to grind up your herbs. This is a poker apparatus of some sort, and I really don't know what that is. And so here's one of the angel heads. I think it came out pretty good. And again, this is matte PLA. This is the Elegoo Rapid PLA Plus. Now, a lot more wall loops on this one to kind of make sure I masked any sort of black that might have shown through. I adjusted the flushing volumes up as well. And let's see how the supports come off. You saw my video yesterday, I was having a lot of trouble with supports. And my working theory was that it was all filament dependent. A lot of people coming in and chiming in saying like, well, yeah. So I don't know if that was just a thing I was supposed to understand from the get-go. But hey, I got my education now, don't I? So what I've done is actually for any art prints that I do, I'm gonna commit entirely to bamboo filaments, and I'm gonna favor heavily the matte filaments because like the matte on the skin, hair, maybe shiny. It depends on the model, I guess. But I'm going to try to do that because people saying matte filaments break away a lot cleaner, and of course they do. So that's, you know, I was very glad to sort of arrive there, and that's why the printers are kind of silent now, because it doesn't make sense to me to try to keep fine-tuning support settings until I have the filament that I'm actually going to run. So for instance, I don't have any matte red filament, so I'm just going to wait till the matte red filament gets here, the matte white filament, so on and so forth. And Bamboo, unfortunately, you know, it just takes forever to get their stuff. Well, I say forever, but it's like, you know, 3-4 days. I'm spoiled on Amazon here. So that's the saga with the art print. So those are kind of on a bit of a pause until I get all the matte filaments, and then I'll start running tests again. This one came out a little better. The neck is where it's supposed to be. And I thought about for these art models, since they take so long anyway, because what's the difference between a 3-day print and a 4-day print, to be honest with you? That's just my thinking, is I should just fuse this head onto the model, just assemble it in Bamboo, and that way I can print the body and the head in one big go. Again, that kind of reduces the amount of labor time and gluing this on there and, you know, potentially having issues or whatnot. But overall, the angel head came out pretty good. So I think I got a winner there. It just need to switch up the all the filaments over into a matte configuration. So the other thing too, if you've been following my channel, and again, welcome to all the new subscribers, is that again, I run the Cobra 2 Maxes because of the 400mm squared build plate, or cubed rather. It's basically 400. I think it's a little bigger on the Z. But I do that because not a lot of people have big printers. There are no, you know, and people think a big printer, at least in my opinion, that say a 350 build plate is big, and it's big by comparison of all the other 3D printers. But in terms of like the world, to me anyway, that's not very big. That's not like something that I would consider big. Like I think when I think of a big printer, I think of like the Elegoo Orange Storm Giga, something that's the size of a washing machine. So I think that's a barrier to entry in a space where there are virtually no barriers to entry. So I'm constantly looking for what is the new product, you know, like what's the product that can be a particular niche or something that will latch on and I'll be able to kind of like generate consistent sales with. And so I am particularly interested in the large format printers for printing like giant art, or maybe even furniture, or, you know, really anything that's, you know, kind of a larger size, because things that are this big, everybody and their mother can print those and sell them on Etsy. And things that are this big are unlikely to sell for much money. And, you know, certainly you could do it in volume, but I'm much more interested in printing something that's, say, bigger and selling it for a few $100s, a few $1,000s, whatever. Because again, I have the space to put a bunch of these giant printers should I be able to latch on and start serving products like that. A lot of people making suggestions. I've been interested in the Orange Storm Giga, but it's limited to one color, which is kind of a downside. It's also doesn't have the best reviews. Now, it is a relatively new printer, but it's like in like $2,500 price range. And so I do have hesitations about it. I've certainly never had a printer that big, and I don't really tinker with 3D printers. You know, I'm not really interested in doing that. The idea here is to scale up, to have a bunch of these machines, stamping out these products, shipping them out, and having employees kind of do it. And I kind of stay at the top and, you know, think about new products coming in, or just keep, you know, a 30,000 foot view of it. So I've been looking at what other options exist other than the Giga, and then the Giga is like 800 squared. Tronxy seems to have quite a few printers that are of this giant format, 600, 800, 1,000, and they're in that similar sort of price range, around $3,000, but Tronxy machines don't have the greatest reputation either. But I'm looking here at this one, the Viho 1000 direct drive 3D printer. It's a 1000 cube, and it also is a Core XY machine, so that's adding stability. Glass bed, not sure about that. It's kind of a lot to sort of gamble on, and I was thinking like, well, maybe I could, you know, kind of wet my, you know, get my feet wet with it with a refurb machine, a used machine on eBay or something like that. But I don't think I really want to walk into that quagmire and try to, you know, fix what someone else has determined is broken. Additionally, it's me buying a machine without having a product to sell. But then again, how can I really prototype products or test the viability of products without having the big product? Because as of right now, if you've seen those giant Glocks, those giant guns that I 3D print, I print those in parts on my Cobras and glue them together. And while I have not sold one, admittedly, there are 7 in people's carts on Etsy, and that's for a very small Etsy shop that doesn't have any traffic. I don't do any advertising or anything like that, but for 7 people to put a $600 piece of plastic in their cart, it kind of, you know, makes me think like, okay, well, you know, maybe obviously it's very interesting to look at, and there's a lot of people who are into guns and things like that. But for them to go ahead and add it to their cart and just kind of leave it there, are they just kind of waiting for the price to drop? Maybe. Or, you know, were they about to buy it and just kind of slowed down, or, you know, hesitation or something like that. The point being is that there is interest there in these very, very large prints. And that's me printing it and gluing it together on a 400 cube machine. If I had a 1,000 cube machine, how much larger could I make it? There's a certain point where people are not going to want a Glock that's the size of an entire room, but maybe they do. I don't know. But the interest is certainly there. So that's the stage I'm at right now. Do I pull the trigger and go with another one and just try to see if there's some extra opportunity there on these mega sized prints? Or do I just keep growing my YouTube channel to the point where Tronxy sees this and they're like, oh, we'll send you a free printer for you to review? And I'm like, I'm in the money. Easy enough, right? Seriously, does anyone know how big I have to get before they start sending me free printers? Because I want to get to that point. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, appreciate all the new people coming in. Let me know what you'd like to see or like or don't like in the comments below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.